I'm Schulich, MD candidate 2021. I came to Canada in 2007 to BC actually, to a small town called Langley. I graduated there in 2012. And then I actually moved to Alberta for my undergrad in cell bio, where I finished my undergrad, and then I went back to Vancouver to work in Maple Ridge for a year, and now I'm here in London for Schulich Medicine. Okay. So just briefly going over the general application process. So your application starts in summer. So usually people apply during their third year of undergrad. So summer after third year, assuming that you've taken your MCAT and you got a good score on it. And then you get your documents in by the deadlines. You wait for interview decisions. Depending on the school, UBC comes out like in December-ish. Other schools, Ontario ones come out in January, February. And if you got the interview, you do the interview around March, April, and then you hear back any time between May to July if you're on waitlist. So yeah, it's a year-long process, and if you don't get it, then you prepare right away and apply like 2 months after in the following summer. Okay, so if you get into MD, so what happens after? So in medicine, you go to school only for the first 2 years. So that's called pre-clerkship, where you actually go to lectures, write exams and small groups and all that. But in your third year, you leave the school kind of, and you go through different hospitals doing your rotations there. And then your fourth year, you focus a bit more on the specialties you want to get into, and then it's same thing as third year, just a bit more focused. And then by the end of your fourth year electives, you go through CARMS, which is another set of interviews to match into the specialty you want to get into. And then there's the board exam to get your license. And then once you get into the residency, it depends on your specialty, but it goes from anywhere from 2 years to 7 years if you're in surgery and stuff. Okay, so just a few tips for admissions, I guess. I would say first thing is actually check the admissions website. You're gonna end up having to apply to a lot of different schools. So it comes handy, what I found is to actually organize all the deadlines. Because like I have actually seen people miss deadlines and just give up at that school. And also, I've also been onto like Pre-Med 101 blogs and all that for trying to get some more information. But in the end, all the information that you want to get is from the school websites. Whatever they say on the forums and stuff, it's not really evidence. So the best place to go to is the school website. And then the second tip I would say is apply broadly and get ready to move, actually. This year I personally applied to 9 different schools across Canada. I interviewed at 4 and I ended up only getting into 2 schools. So I ended up having to fly all the way over here from Vancouver. So if you're really into medicine and want to get ready to go anywhere in Canada, really. Okay. And also, different schools have different criteria. Like some schools look more at your ECs, other schools are more GPA, some schools look at your MCAT more. So if you apply broadly, there's more chance that you'll find the school that what you have fits better to have higher chance of getting in. Okay, and ECs and GPA. So as previous speakers told you, ECs are very important. That's what's going to get you references and give you stuff to write on your application actually. But personally, I value GPA more than ECs. So GPA stays once you get it on your transcript. But ECs, like what I have done, like taking a year off after graduation and working, you can always get more experience afterwards. So personally, I think you should prioritize your marks first, and any time you have on your hands after getting that marks, you can try to get more experience and something to get good stuff on. Okay, so I will keep my PT really short. I'm open to questions. If you have any, feel free to email, Facebook, whatever.
I'm just wondering, did you have any research experience when you were in your undergrad, and did you get to publish any papers?
So for paper, no. Research experience, yes. Actually I started, it was more like just a lab work instead of research experience. So I was hoping to get into some of the research stuff, so I just emailed a whole bunch of profs at U of A and biosciences. And one prof was willing to take me. I mostly did menial work, like washing beakers and all that. But that actually allowed me to write something on my resume in relation to lab stuff. So in my summer after third year, I was able to apply to different positions in biochemistry department, and one prof was actually willing to take me on for a summer project. And then after that, in fourth year, I took a research-based course. I went to medical genetics / cell bio and did some research there. Unfortunately, my experience didn't work out. But sorry.
And I also have one more question. So, like, when you were emailing the profs, did you know them? Like, did you get to speak to them personally beforehand before you sent the emails?
I mostly took advantage of lectures. So in lectures, sometimes profs will be like, or TAs mostly will be like, we're looking for people. If you're willing to do it, apply, like blah 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 blah. So I just did all of them, and I just got lucky and just landed on positions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know any colleagues of yours who applied to the States for men?
States. No. It was BS. Yeah. Was it? Oh, UVA. BSc specialized. You can still apply with BA, but just gotta study for the MCAT. It makes no difference for the admissions, but if you are from BA, when you study for MCAT, you're just gonna have to study from scratch because you don't have any background information. Yeah.
Could you elaborate on what kind of ECs you did?
I didn't really do like too much traditional ECs. I didn't join any of student clubs and all that. But I worked at my university residence as RA for a couple of years. And then I did one volunteering like science outreach program. I did a bunch of intramurals. And after graduating, I went back to Maple Ridge to DC to kind of take care of high school kids, international high school kids, like teach them, take care of their homestay and all that. Yeah.
Oh, how was the interview like at Western?
Western's more traditional / yeah.
So I don't really know much about the interview process. Like, what prize is it? Like, what did they ask you, and like, what did you have to act out some certain scenarios for them?
Okay. So first, I'm not allowed to say anything specific,
Yeah.
but it can be anything.
Okay,
Really?
anything?
Yeah. Like literally anything, and also it differs by school.
Oh.
Like some schools use MMI style. Most of schools actually do. It's like they have like a whole bunch of small stations. You go in there, do interview, get out, go to the next one, interview out. And here it's more of just traditional interviewers versus you. Just talk, yeah.
I was wondering if you had any experience with the Casper system.
Yeah.
What could you care to elaborate on that?
Okay, so Casper is literally like fast, short online version of the actual interview. I'm like the worst person to help you on that because I did so bad on both of them. Like they don't give you a score, but I got rejected pre-interview at McMaster like both years. So yeah, not my school.
Do you think there was an EC of yours that made you stand out on the application before you even got the interview?
I think what most helped me was the residence experience because it was like so much of like taking care of like first years, and then after that year I went to work in upper year res, helping out mostly second and third years. It's like I take care of like students' wellness and then plan out social events, academic events. So it was like really broad spectrum of things we had to do in res, like knowing the nature of university res.
Second, third, and fourth?
I worked second and third year, and last year I wanted to focus more on my research and academics, so I volunteered in res.
So did you graduate in 3 years, your bachelor's degree?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, my first year of my undergrad, I didn't really have time to do much EC because I was part of this program called Science 100 at U of A. It was like integrated science program. It was
not
like
that many opportunities for first years anyways, right?
if you look around, there's a lot. I literally didn't have time because our classes were like 9 to 5 every single day for the entire first year.
I know a lot of students are really interested in taking MCATs. Did you take the
I took the old. I was like the last generation of book, which I'm lucky. Yeah, I heard it got much longer and harder. Yeah. We good?
Sorry, just another question. You said you applied to 4 different schools, right? Did you make it to
9.
Oh, 9.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got the interview for 4 different schools.
Yeah. So I applied to UBC, Manitoba, Sask, Ottawa, Queens, McMaster, here, Toronto, McGill, and I got interviewed at UBC, Manitoba, Sask, and Schulich.
I see.
Yeah.
And I would assume you'd have to do in-house interviews.
What do you mean?
So basically, you'd have to go
Yeah.
on to campus.
Yeah.
Did they have to accommodate for you?
Accommodation-wise, some schools have building, so it's like upper year med school students offering their like place just for the interview night
Right.
to stay. But flights and like everything, it's no guarantee you have to accommodate yourself.
And is it just usually just one day that you hash out the entire interview, or?
Well, 2 days because you want to kind of arrive the night before.
Right, but the whole process
Yeah.
just finishes in a day.
Yeah, it's like a whole day process. You do the interview, and most schools have like some info session and like tour of your facility and all that. So.
Right. Do you have any experience with applying? Do you know anybody who applied with prior research experience? Do you know if that's a highly sought after, like something that puts you of an advantage?
So one thing about med school is the admissions team, they kind of don't tell you anything, so no one really knows. Even after getting in it, you just know you got in. Like you don't know why you got in.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's basically luck.
Yeah. Well, it's not luck, but it's just black box. Like you don't know like what specifics they want. They might not even have specifics in mind. It's just like people do like meaningful stuff, and research is usually one of them.
How many cycles did you apply for?
3 years. This was my 3rd year.
Third year applying?
Yeah.
What did you do? What do you think did differently that got you in this year compared to like other 2 years?
So first 2 years that I got rejected, I still got interviews.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure like my communication skills and like interviewing skills were like way down there. So I really practiced on that. And then as the years went, I got more confident with my academics and GPA, so I could focus more on actually building my resume and getting things to actually say at the interviews by trying different things.
Okay. Oh, so your like ECs and your GPA was constantly improving, like every single year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in first couple of years, my resume was like down there.
For the time's sake, this is going to be the last question. She was like, can you stop?
Yeah, if you have questions, just shoot me email or Facebook.
Yeah. I don't know if you mind this question. You don't have to answer, but do you mind me asking your GPA for your undergrads?
So U of A uses 4.0 scale. I think it's
Yeah.
different than Schulich.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was 3.978.